Hello and welcome to the 41 Minutes of Heaven we call the D1Baseball Podcast. I am your host, Michael Patrick Rooney. Want to let you know that it's time to prepare for takeoff because Academy Sports and Outdoors is your new home for Jordan Brand. Swag up today and take flight on the court, off the court, and above the court. Making plays in the latest head-to-toe Jordan gear is fun for the whole family. The Jordan collection is available in-store and at academy.com. Elevated styles and shoes for everyone. Unstoppable value every day. Unleash your greatness with the Jordan collection at Academy Sports and Outdoors. I don't even know where to go from there. Go ahead, Fitzy.
If I'm not mistaken, our own Kendall J. Rogers is a big Jordan shoes guy, aren't you?
Well, Fitt, if you showed up to the podcast, you would know that we talked about this last week.
Yeah, we're in reruns right now.
Know your
actually, hey, Fitt, I will tell you this. I think I sent you the link. I think you ignored my comment or my link, but I actually got like the University Blue Carolina Jordans, the Jordan 1s about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So yeah, that's my postseason shoe. It's
some of us were out covering the sport of college baseball this past weekend, and so we were traveling.
I don't know. Is there such thing as Baton Rouge? I was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana this past weekend.
That's a nice hop,
skip, and
jump for you. Good for you.
I believe Jared Jones's ball finally landed in my backyard in Houston last night.
It's well struck. Was well struck. Fitzy, did I don't know. I didn't watch the video as closely as I should have, but when our good friend Jack Delachamps, hashtag Jack Jackson, got his Tecovas boots, I could have sworn at the end of the video he said, "I nominate Aaron Fitt for the next D1 baseball staff member Tecovas boots." Did you get that message?
I haven't gotten the memo yet, but you know where to find me, Tecovas. You know where to find me.
Tecovas, you know where to find me. Oh, I love it. Gentlemen, I believe this is week 12. We have 3 weekends of the regular season left, which is mind-boggling. And let's talk about week 12. I have a format for us, and here's the format. I'm going to give you a menu of series in certain sections. Sometimes it'll be by league. Sometimes it will not. Within that section of the menu, you are not allowed to talk about the team or the series that you'd like to bring up. It's like Jeopardy. You have to ask a question about the series that you bring up. And then anyone else on the table here can answer the question. And by the way, we've got Big Tex and we've got Sauce and we've got Fitty Barrels. And you know who these people are. So it's the game is the question. You have to ask a question about the series in question. So we're going to do the SEC. I'll rattle off the series. Texas at Arkansas, it's going on right now. Arkansas is bombing them in game 1. LSU's going to A&M. Auburn is going to Tennessee. Kentucky is going to Hail State. Alabama is going to Vandy. Ole Miss is going to Oklahoma. And Florida is going to South Carolina. It looks like they're going to South Carolina without Mr. Shelton, their shortstop, who looks like he's got a hamate injury. Joe, that is confirmed. Is that correct?
Yeah. Mark Etheridge, who's as good a source as any, as far as I'm concerned, has confirmed that to be the case.
Yeah, if you look at the injury report from that series, it like both teams have like 7 names on there.
Not good. Not great, Bob.
Unit.
Yeah. So, okay, here's my first question. Anyone can answer it, or you cannot answer it. You can just bring up another series and
we'll just go silent. We're just going to do a silent protest.
That would be great. And you may do that when I bring this one up because I'm going off the marquee. Alabama's at Vandy.
Okay. I was thinking a Lafayette reference.
I've been a Vandy apologist. Here's my question. Okay. Is Vandy a more viable postseason team to go deep in the postseason than Alabama? Let me rephrase. Is Vandy a more viable Omaha team than Alabama? That is my question.
Yes.
Why,
I
Joe?
would agree with Joe.
It feels fresh in my mind, too, because I wrote that is actually my SEC series of the week that I wrote for SEC Extra that just went up, about an hour and a half ago. Because it's 2 teams kind of in a similar place. So it's fair that you asked that, Runes, because they do feel like 2 teams that, not only do they have identical records, but they're 2 teams that are like kind of the funhouse mirror reflections of each other, where, Alabama's tends to be more offensive oriented, but that group has kind of taken a step back, and Vanderbilt obviously is pitching centric. But to answer your question more directly, I just don't have a ton of trust with Alabama on the mound. I think the quality is pretty good, right? Like when Riley Quick is good, he's really good. When Zane Adams is good, he's really good. But neither of them have been really good consistently enough. and neither of them are really getting super deep into games. And on the flip side, Vanderbilt with their rotation of Thompson and Bowker and Fennell right now is, that's one of the handful of the best ones in the SEC when you consider especially how well Connor Fennell is pitching right now. So you combine that with a bullpen that's, 5-6 deep with guys that I think have a decent amount of trust, so I like that unit. And here's the other thing. You've said this over and over, Runes, and you and I guess are just going to keep saying it until we're either just super, super wrong or we're proven right. Like if you'd have told me before the year that at this point of SEC play, RJ Austin would be hitting under 200 without a single home run in SEC play, I'd have said they are in deep trouble. And yet, here they are, 12-9 in the league, top 5 RPI, a chance to not only host but be a top 8. And I have to assume he will figure something out at some point and just be even a little bit better. But that the rest of the offense has picked him up enough. So I just really like the pitching, and I don't have a lot of trust in Alabama's pitching. And, oh, by the way, Cade Snell is swinging the bat well. Richie Bonamolo is swinging it reasonably well. But, Justin LeBron's hitting under 250 in SEC play. Only 4 home runs in SEC play. And when he's not going great, it's a lot harder for that lineup to get going the way they were early in the season.
Runes, can I throw a couple of stats at you on Connor Fennell?
Oh, please.
I think in our group chat earlier this week, we talked a little bit about Fennell, but, this is a guy that's been incredible this season. He's got 63 strikeouts, 6 walks, and 34 innings of work. And I was just checking out his spray chart, thanks to our friends at Synergy. He's got a 58% whiff rate on the changeup, 53% whiff rate on the slider. So just, really good whiff rates, and he's having a great year for them.
Bonkers. I got this from an assistant coach in the league today. Of the starting pitchers, basically this coach said, we've played 7 SEC weekends, and of the pitchers, the starting pitchers we faced, he would rank them, and again, like it's that game matters, right? Number 1 against them was Connor Fennell. Number 2 was Liam Doyle, and Ben Cleaver of Kentucky was number 3. And so again, he's not talking about prospect. He's talking about who gave them the hardest time.
Did he kind of mention what he thinks is so hard about it? Because he almost kind of reminds me of like a right. I mean, they look different in terms of size, but like the way it comes out of his hand, it kind of reminds me of Volantis, to where it feels like teams have a really hard time picking up his pitches from that arm slot.
I had a Fennell game earlier in the year, and I would just tell you that the fastball's got tremendous life. It plays way up. It doesn't touch 90, but it's like the arm side run, and it's a little Bowkerish, where it's kind of comes out low and it's up and in, and command of everything. And he flusters people. Clearly, the quick pitching is effective. Like every game he's pitching, there's there's shouting. So. Yeah, I just think it's command of everything. The fastball's got incredible life, and you got to address velocity from 72 to 89, right? Like it's a big velo spread too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, guys, I'll play devil's advocate here. I'm like gut reaction might have said Vanderbilt also, but everyone's talking about Vanderbilt. I'm going to talk about Alabama, because here's the thing: I actually do like the way Adams and Quick are trending. I mean, I say trending. I mean, it's a couple of good outings in the last 3 weeks for both these guys, right? And good outings though. I mean, it's like I feel like we're starting to get closer now to what we hoped we would see from them on a more consistent basis. And especially in Riley Quick's case, I mean, I think 2 of the last 3 weeks he's into the 6, which is notable because he hadn't done that much before, and only allowed 1 run. And so it's. Yes, is it trustworthy? I mean, like really, really trustworthy? I don't know yet, but I like the way it's trending. I think they have enough arms. I don't think it's an elite pitching staff, but I think, I feel pretty good with the top 6 or 8 guys, 6 or 7 maybe. I mean, I think there's enough there, and I still think their lineup is better. I mean, it's just more dynamic. You've got real difference makers there, with obviously, I know LeBron hasn't had a great SEC play, but he's a clear difference maker. And so is Cade Snell. And I mean, Richie Bonamolo is a guy, and Bryce Fowler's quietly had a very good year too. I mean, and he's dynamic. Like those guys are real impact players. And then even lower in the order with, Hodo and Torres and, Mizell can hurt you. And I mean, I just think I like the length in the lineup. I like the way pieces fit together, and I think they're kind of sneaky and a little underrated. And I feel like part of that is maybe they just swept Missouri, And so we just kind of like, whatever, it's just Missouri. But like, they've had a pretty good year. I mean, they still are in pretty good shape to host a regional. They're 12-9 in the league with like a top 15 RPI. I mean, I think they're sitting in a pretty good spot, and I think they're still pretty dangerous. So I'm super intrigued by this series. I don't even know what I picked for this one, but I think
it feels. I will say this: it does feel a little problematic that Justin LeBron's hitting 247 in conference with only 4 home runs. Because I'm pretty sure when I saw him against A&M, he had 3 home runs. So very little power production over the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I like the pieces too offensively for Alabama, but the reality is they're like 12th in the league in batting average in SEC play. They're 11th or something like that in home. Whatever the numbers are, it just hasn't been good. Will Hodo had a nice weekend last weekend prior, but he's hitting right around 200 in league play. Brennan Norton was the cat's meow in Jacksonville, and he's not on the field really anymore, and it just so I'm not exactly sure. Like, the thing for me is I'm just not exactly sure what the blueprint is for Alabama right now, because the offense really hasn't been what it was the first 6 or 8 weeks of the season. And, while Adams and Quick have shown some positive strides, the consistency just hasn't been there for me.
Fair. Joe, pick a series and ask a question, please.
SEC or elsewhere?
You go SEC. We can stay there for another couple minutes.
Okay. Let's go Ole Miss and Oklahoma. And let's say, what's the path for Oklahoma to win this series if they're not able to do what they do offensively and they have to win the game? They have to win the series some other way.
So can Oklahoma win a series off script?
Yeah.
Kendall, you got any thoughts there?
Oklahoma would very much depend on like what the weather is like there, because that ballpark, I mean, it can be blowing like 30 miles an hour out. So I'd have to look at the weather. But I mean, I will say this: Reggie Willits has done a really nice job historically with their offensive lineup. Like, obviously they had a lot of guys replaced from last year, but he does try some different things. And so, I do think that there could be a game here and there where they can go off script and win some some games in this league.
And they have done that. Like, in fairness to them, they have done that. It's just they're clearly at their best when they are making some things happen. But in a lineup that I assume won't have Dayton Taki anymore moving forward, or at least not for the foreseeable future. Like that's one piece with some thunder that they're just not gonna have moving forward.
Yeah, he was really good for me around this year.
I think both of these coaches would say, I really like my team. I really like the makeup of my team. But week to week, I really don't know what's going to happen. And maybe some of that's just life in the SEC. It's just such a juggernaut. But I do feel like these two teams, it's hard to have feel for them. They're very specific in nature. We've seen teams kind of look just significantly better than them. We've also seen them just like surprise us with some really good wins. I don't know. These are two of the teams I don't have great feel for. I feel like they confuse me at times.
Well, maybe perhaps a better question to ask as we spin it forward to the postseason is there a path for the team that loses this series to still host a regional? Because they're both kind of borderline RPIs, right? Like, as I'm looking at it right this second, Ole Miss 16, Oklahoma 22. The loser of this series is going to be about 500 in the league. So the path does get a little bit harder for the loser of the series.
It does, and the problem is you've got teams like Oregon who are just surging right now in the RPI and sizzling hot. So like a team like Oregon is going to take a spot more than likely from someone. So there's just a lot of competition there for those final couple of spots.
Yep. And by the way, if you're listening, let me just offer you two things. If you don't have a sub to the site yet, Omaha 30 will get you 30% off any subscription. Almost said prescription. We don't do meds. And and just remember,
you're not supposed to say it out loud, Runes.
Oh, sorry, we're doing meds for the postseason only. You can get your gabapentin from D1Baseball.com. I'm just kidding, of course. So get your sub, and also the Nerdcast is weekly now. So check out the Nerdcast on the podcast feed. It is just an absolutely mandatory listen. Fitzy, do you have a question for the group? We could do one more question in the Southeastern Conference.
Sure. I have a question for you guys. Is Tennessee fixed now with the shuffling that they've made? Are they? You think like they're gonna come back this weekend and just be Tennessee again? Like I guess that's my question. Like where are we at with Tennessee? Where are we at with them? Because they lost
Great
3 series in the month of April,
Can
which is weird because they were just they had this layer of invincibility about them for the last 3 years, basically, especially at home, and they've gotten at home a little bit. And so, where are we at with these guys?
I will say this about Tennessee, having watched them in Baton Rouge last weekend, is the offensive lineup for Tennessee, and granted, we'll see if the defensive issues get fixed, but the offensive lineup for Tennessee, to me, just doesn't scare me near as much as it has in this last several years. Like, I just feel like when you get past the top with Andrew Fisher and those guys, they can be pitched to. They really can. I think LSU kind of showed that on Sunday. It's not like Tennessee had some great offensive game on Friday. Granted, Cade Anderson's pretty damn good, but I'm not buying like the bottom of that lineup is like, oh, that's scaring the hell out of me. That just makes them different to me. And I also don't think I don't think the big pieces in the bullpen are quite as like daunting as one might think. Like Tanner Franklin, there are outings where Tanner Franklin comes out there and it feels like he's just trying to blow 100 past people. I mean, that's great and all that you can throw 100, but like there are outings where like teams in this league, like they're not scared of that. Nate Snead, I think, is pretty nasty, but I don't think the bullpen's quite as great as we might have thought it was early in the season. So, I mean, I think Tennessee's really good. I think they've taken a step back since earlier in the season.
Well, I guess I would say that the question kind of presupposes that Tennessee was broken. And I do take the point that losing 3 series in 1 month was something I would have never predicted for them. So I will grant you that. Like, I'm with you there.
And 2 of them at home.
I'm sorry?
And 2 of them at home. Kentucky
right,
and A&M at home. I just think that's very notable.
I just kind of feel like, and I've gotten asked something to this effect on radio this week, so it's kind of on my mind, but I just think that's kind of what the SEC is this season. Yeah. Texas has kind of had this, they're winning all the 50-50 games, and then maybe this weekend against Arkansas, water will find its level. But for the most part, outside of Texas, like everybody's had weekends that are just kind of tough. And everyone's like, frankly, all those top contenders have taken more losses than I would have assumed they'd had by now. Right. And so I just think that's kind of the league. And it's made it it's made it hard for you guys in the Nerdcast, but it also has just made it really hard week to week to understand what we're looking at, which is, can be exciting for postseason stuff, but really hard to figure out what's going on. So I'm still in on Tennessee just generally, but so I like them this weekend, but I was never necessarily off Tennessee, even if I can admit that it was a little bit weird the way they were playing.
I do like the substitution. I like Curley at second, Keelan at short. No offense to Ariel Antigua, who is very talented defensively, but he is pretty emotional. Like and I mean, obviously you're an emotional person when you challenge Bear Jones, who's 3x of you, and he's, by the way, within 2 feet of you. Like from the dugout, I don't love it, but within punching shot, I really don't like it. But I think Tennessee just calming down a little bit, like leaning more into the Hunter Ensleys and the I think their lack of experience is kind of showing. Their lack of experience in the league.
Little, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, a little bit. I will say this. What's really interesting about Tony Vitello is Tony, known as quite a fiery character. Over the weekend in Baton Rouge was really interesting. There were a lot of big moments in that game where a call didn't go their way, or somebody bobbled a ball, or there was an error, and old school Tony would have been out there yelling at everybody and going crazy a little bit. I mean, there were several times over the weekend where in those situations he actually took a step back and sat on the bench and just kind of observed. And I thought that was really interesting because Fisher and Antigua in particular were pretty chippy over the weekend. But like Tony, outside of one situation, which the one situation he had a legitimate beef with the home plate umpire. The home plate umpire was all over the place. But I mean, he was very subdued, and so it's just a little different Tennessee than what we're used to seeing.
Yep.
I'll
Boys,
just
let's
say
take
this.
go ahead, Fitzy. Go ahead.
Last thought on the Vols. I'm actually like, just despite the question I asked, I'm not at all concerned about them. I think they're, for me, Tennessee, LSU, and Arkansas still are like the three teams that I just feel I have the most confidence in, and that's with all due respect to Texas, who's had an incredible year, the best year in the country, but with the injuries, I continue to be just a little bit more concerned about their long-term future than I am about those other three.
Yeah.
And even though Arkansas and Tennessee did not have good Aprils, I'm still in there. I'm still in there on both those.
Yeah, and Marcus Phillips too last weekend looked really good. I mean, it was in the third inning he struck out Derek Curiel on a 100-mile-an-hour fastball with like a 2,900 spin rate. So yeah, I mean that was ridiculous, and his off-speed stuff was really good. And by the way, what a treat of a guy to talk to. He was terrific in post game. So with that 1-2 punch, they could do some damage.
Or are you just saying that, KR, because Marcus Phillips is like 6'5" and 250 pounds? And
I'm sure I could take him.
yeah, channel your inner East Texas.
I'm kidding,
boys,
people.
Yes,
By
we're
the way.
kidding. We joke because we can. Let's take a quick break so I can tell you guys about Tecovas boots. If you love our game, you know that smell, the one that brings you right back. Fresh cut grass, a broken-in glove made with real leather. It's exactly what you get with Tecovas boots. They're made for baseball people, whether you've been wearing boots your whole life or you're picking up your first pair with over 200 steps of craftsmanship. They're built to last. They feel great right out of the box. They look even better. Anywhere worth going is worth going in good boots. Find your pair today at Tecovas. All right, boys. I'm going to combine some of the other major leagues.
Yeah.
And same thing, Kendall, you're going to be up first. I'm priming you. Your instructions are to pick a series and then ask a question about that series. Your choices: Clemson at Florida State, Louisville at Notre Dame, NC State at Miami. So Clemson at Florida State, Louisville at Notre Dame, NC State at Miami. The Big 12's got a big series, TCU at Arizona. And in the Big 10, we've got Iowa at Washington. We've got UCLA at USC, which is just a glorious football game. Go ahead, Kendall. There's your menu of 6.
Yeah, I'm going to go with one of the hottest teams in college baseball, NC State at Miami. First of all, I give, JD Arteaga and that staff a lot of credit. This was a team that, 3 to 4 weeks ago, like we're thinking they're making a coaching change in the year. All of a sudden, they've won 4 straight series. They will be in the NCAA tournament. So that's number one thing. Number two, my question is about NC State, and I'm kind of—
It's a long question, by the way.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Right on brand. In this question, I would prefer Fitzy to answer this one. But one thing that really stood out to me over the weekend about NC State was its pitching, and particularly its bullpen with Schaffner and Anderson Nance. Is NC State a legitimate national championship contender? Yes or no? And why?
Great question.
It's a great question. And the answer is yes. And I didn't think I was going to be there right at this point. But partly, like the reason we like this team a lot in the preseason, we ranked them wherever they were, or preseason top 11 or 12, whatever it was. The number one reason was we liked their bullpen, right? And then, Derek Smith, they hadn't really had him all year. He was a key piece of it. And then Duden came out of the chute, who, was first team preseason All-American. He came out of the chute rocky. First 3 or 4 outings were poor. But since then, like Duden has quietly been awesome, dominant. Really, since the first 3 or 4 outings, he's been dominant. And that slider is unhittable and all that stuff. But they've got 3 dudes now with Duden and Schaffner. You mentioned that's a guy that they can also extend, give him 3 innings and just shut it down with mid-90s stuff. And it's a good breaking ball. And then Nance. I mean, Nance is a guy, man. That's like a future ace for them, a future Friday night guy. And he'll give you 4 or 5 innings, and he pounds the zone every time. It is up to 97. And he can spin it, and he's got a changeup that'll throw right on right, and he's got feel, and he's fearless. He's got a little just badass to him as a true freshman. And so I don't think it's like they have maybe the depth in the bullpen that we thought, but they've got 3 real guys there, and they've got 3 starters that they've run out every weekend, all 11 weeks. They've made every start, and they've been up and down a little bit, but mostly they've been pretty solid. I mean, with Marone, the lefty, and Heath Andrews and Of course, Fritton, who can beat you, he can beat anybody when he's on. So, it's not like the deepest staff, but it's 6 real good arms that I trust. And I heard a rumor that Shane Van Dam might be getting close to being back. And maybe people forget that he was their best guy before he got hurt last year. So you throw him into the mix. That's another little boost. Potentially you get Derek Smith back for the stretch run. I think the pitching makes them a legitimate contender. And also I'll say this too. I think their position play group has wound up better than I thought it was going to be. I still don't think it's like as explosive as a lot of the lineups that they've had, but it's a classic Elliott event. Like you look up and it's May and they're grinding you down with their tough at bats and, tons of walks and using all fields and it's just come together. I mean, it's like maybe not as much star power in the lineup, but it's come together. And it's got some length and I think they're right now, they feel like they might just be the best team in the ACC when it's all said and done.
I like it.
I think there's.
Oh, go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I think there's also some upside here when you talk about the pitching from NC State standpoint. When you consider that, we thought Cooper Consiglia would be one of their guys, and he hasn't really been very good this year. But who's to say that he won't get something figured out as time? I mean, how often do we see it? In the postseason, guy who just hasn't had a great year just gets thrown in there in a regional, and all of a sudden the pieces align, and they've got some other. I mean, unless there's an injury I don't know about, Aaron, because I haven't seen State in a while. But, I did some of their games on ESPN Plus earlier this season, and I really liked the arm talent of, Cam Wimbish, like a guy like that. So, there is, I think, some more ceiling on the mound they could potentially unlock, and maybe it won't happen this year. But it is there for them to reach that. So that has me excited about them too.
Boys, I have a question for the group. Mo Norman, by the way, I see you in there saying, my son is 3. What's the best way to get him ready for D1? I would say, just channel your inner Dylan Volantis. You just need your son to become 6'6", left-handed, and throw 3 different breaking balls for a strike anytime you want. I'm kidding, of course. Just play a lot of wiffle ball.
Push-ups.
He also mentions, I heard rubbing milk on his hamstrings at bedtime can help.
That sounds weird, Mo.
That's what was the name of that quarterback?
You do what you got to do.
That's a reference to what was the name of that quarterback?
Marinovich.
Yeah, Marinovich. Yeah,
that's
what his dad would do.
Todd Marinovich, is that it?
Yeah, he beat.
I was going to say it's something done in the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Marv Marinovich was his dad.
Was the dad? Yeah, it was the crazy dad. Boys, here's my question. When I thought early in the season, when I thought about who can prevent the SEC from winning a 6th straight national title in baseball, 2 teams were who I thought of: Clemson and Florida State. And my question is, are they broken, and do I need to lower my expectations for those 2 teams? Florida State's lost 2 out of 3 series. That bullpen is starting to really frighten me. Clemson just got run off the field by NC State. That was jarring to me. I don't know. You go wherever you want there.
Very good. I haven't seen Clemson since opening weekend, but I'll say this. I felt like with how consistent Clemson's been, I felt like the NC State series was kind of their Arkansas series for Texas. Like Texas tonight, loses 9-0. Total stinker. Ruger Riojas, who was awesome last weekend against A&M, gets absolutely bombed. I feel like they were just kind of due. I'm kind of one of those people. I want to see I want to see what they look like this weekend before I sit there and go, oh, I'm really concerned about them.
Yeah, I'm not overly concerned about Clemson either. I do. I want to see them get a little more consistency in the rotation, and they're trying to figure that out. I mean, obviously you've got Canuck, and then it's they had Darden in the rotation for a while. He's not there anymore. Obviously, they started Justin Lagarde making the rotation early in the year. He's out of it. You've got now Drew Titsworth starting. I think that's promising. It went just okay. The first. Well, I guess I don't know if he's made 1 or 2 starts, but this past week it was just okay. So we'll kind of see, a little bit of wait to see on that. And then, potentially Michael Gillen coming off injury. They had talked about him as a starter in the preseason. I feel like that's more of a bullpen piece, but I like BJ Bailey. I think that's a fine piece. But the question for me is, do they have enough starting pitching to do it after Canuck? And I'm still kind of waiting to see on that. I do still have more faith in Florida State starting pitching, but as you mentioned, Runes, that bullpen is a little bit concerning. I don't know. I feel like all these teams have some question mark. And in Florida State's case, it feels like maybe it's more bullpen. In Clemson's case is more starting pitching. Clemson hasn't, the last couple of weeks, hasn't really hit that much, but I still feel like their offense has such a high floor because of their just discipline from top to bottom. And but that said, walks are great, but like you got to be able to hit the ball too, and they didn't really do that in Raleigh. So we'll see. I feel like it's just a little dip for them. Ultimately, it still feels like they're a very tough, battle proven team, and I still think those teams are viable title contenders. But it does feel like maybe they're not quite. For me, they don't feel like they're quite in that same category as like I was talking before about the Arkansas, LSU, Tennessee tier. I guess performance wise, Florida State and Clemson fit in that tier, but ultimately, like as far as like the full quality of the roster, I'm not quite sure if I'm there.
Yep. Joe, if you want to contribute there or pick a series and ask a question.
Turns out it helps if you unmute yourself.
Right.
All right, let's I'm scrolling. Hang on, Runes. Bear with me.
Do you want me to repeat
Big
the
12,
options?
maybe?
TCU at Arizona was one, Iowa at Washington, UCLA at USC, some options.
Yeah,
Cade McNown quarterbacking for UCLA.
Or
I have
go
that
off the
jersey.
board, Joe, if you need to.
Yeah, there you go.
So with USC and UCLA, I guess for me it's how is USC for real enough to where they can actually play with UCLA here and kind of solidify themselves as a regional team ultimately.
So can USC solidify themselves? That's the question.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would say
yes.
so. I mean, they're 30-14.
I like their team. They've won 7 straight series now. Some numbers on UCLA.
Oh wow.
7 straight. I'm sorry, USC.
Yeah.
USC's won 7 straight series.
7. It was the first time they've done that, as I understand it, since 2001, which is some time ago, boys. Your man Skip Gillespie.
They were pretty good.
Sure. I mean, the one thing I will say about USC, Joe, is I think it was the Penn State series a few weeks ago. I was reading shotgun stuff on Caden Hunter and Caden Aoki, excuse me, and those two guys have been really good this year. Yes. I mean, Hunter 64 strikeouts and 58 innings of work, and then Aoki 63 strikeouts with 8 walks and 65 innings of work. If you have 2 starters like that, I mean, you're in business, especially in a league like that.
Yep. Yeah, I think they're good. I think they can absolutely win that series. Now, that said, I think I picked UCLA because I just really like UCLA's team. I think that position player group for UCLA is really high end. I mean, and it's a lot of it's a lot of sophomores, like emerging sophomores I guess sophomores that have emerged, really, like guys that have come into their own. And obviously, we all know Rock Chalowski, but Robin Martin, and I think Dean West at the top is a dynamic player. Really like that guy. I mean, we've talked about Muluvai Lavu. Gosh, I'm never going to get that name right. But I mean, it's they got a bunch of guys, and then a couple older players in there as well. I just think it's a really, really good position player group. And I mean, maybe USC gets a little bit of an edge in the rotation this weekend with no Cody Del Vecchio for UCLA, but nonetheless, I think that the Bruins have enough good arms. They really do. They got like some really exciting young arms in that freshman sophomore class. Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, I was going to let you finish, but I was going to say, for the second time in this podcast, I've come up with, I think, a better question after I asked my initial question.
Oh, let's go.
So we
follow up, if you will.
Iowa and Washington, right, Runes? I have that right.
At Washington, yes.
Yeah. So which result is better for the Big Ten's overall like postseason implications? Iowa winning that series to where like Iowa starts to become like basically, I don't want to say it would totally clinch it, but they win the series, it's going to be really hard to catch them. Yeah. Or Washington wins it because maybe Iowa's resume is still going to be good enough to where they might still win the league and get in, but maybe Washington starts to put itself in position to be an at-large team if the RPI bumps a little bit. So which result do you think is better for the Big Ten overall?
Gotta have Iowa win it. I think. I think if Washington wins that series, it really hurts the credibility of the Big Ten historic. Washington won 19 games last year, lost all of their good players besides AJ Guerrero to the portal, and they're like going to finish 4th in the league or whatever. It's like
they're
5th.
still 1-9 against Q1.
Washington or Iowa?
Washington is.
Washington.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I vote Iowa.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I will say, Patrick Gebert had a great piece on Washington on our site today. So impressed with the job that Eddie Smith and his staff have done. Like they came in, when they came in, like the portal was kind of picked clean, and like they still managed to find some guys late. Like their Friday night starter Banks. I mean, it's a guy that they got late and from Division 3, I think, or D2. I mean, like it's a Chapman. Yeah, and it's just like he's been awesome. He's like a legit ace. That's a cool story. So I mean, I think Washington is a cool story, but I do think that they're not going to get to at large. They're just not going to get there, even though
RPI 80.
and
not
so
happening.
much better for the league for Iowa to win the series for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a UW supporter, you've just got to feel like this year almost like. And this was just a pleasant surprise, right? And like you just have to feel super optimistic about what can this coaching staff do when we actually have an off season where we can recruit.
Yeah, heck yeah, yeah, great. It is a great hire, Kendall. I do want to talk about TCU at Arizona. So Arizona's got Brendan Summerhill back, I believe, but TCU's got some injury issues coming in there. Isn't Sawyer Stroh-Snyder not?
He's supposed to be back this weekend.
He is. Okay, gotcha. That's their like phenom freshman outfielder.
Yeah, he's really impressive. And again, this is another series, kind of like we were talking about with Ole Miss and Oklahoma earlier. This is another series that could have hosting implications. I mean, TCU sitting there at 17, they were just out of the top 16 in our Nerdcast the other night, behind UCLA. But TCU right there in the cusp. And then Arizona, I mean, the RPI has dropped to 25. But if they can win this series against the Frogs, they would have 10 wins against Q1. That's pretty good. So Arizona and TCU most definitely not out of the hosting mix, which makes that a huge series this weekend in Tucson.
Love it. All right, boys, final question, and then we will wrap. I'm going to rattle off a bunch of series. And if you had Stitch's Learjet, first place Stitch heads, by the way, I should kiss the ring as the last place, not so.
I wonder if he's doing some insider trading.
I'll tell you who needs to be investigated is Jack Johnson. Jack DeLaChamp, curiously every week is running the shotgun Spratling playbook. Like everybody picks Vandy and he picks Alabama. Like Fitzy, I mean, you live close to DC, sort of. Like, can we get somebody on the horn? A regulator, if you will.
I think I know some people who know some people at Deloitte, so I'll make some calls, see if we can get some accountability.
Call the Big Four. So if you had Stitchhead's Learjet, and you could go to any of these series I'm about to mention, where would you go and why?
Okay,
Joe, you're going to go first. Let me just read you the whole menu. I'll read it twice. The St. Joseph's Beloved Hawks at George Mason. Speaking of the capital, St. Joe's at Mason. Maine, the Fighting Durbas at Bryant in an American East showdown, the Gennaro Bowl, if you will. Maine at Bryant. UTSA going to Tampa, playing South Florida, second place team in the American. La Tech at Western Kentucky. Kent State at Ball State. Muncie, Indiana. That's all I'm going to say. It's in Muncie, Indiana. Missouri State at Illinois State. Southern Illinois at Murray State. Tennessee Tech at Southeast Missouri. Lamar at Southeastern Louisiana. Sac State at Grand Canyon. So, St. Joe's at Mason, Maine at Bryant, UTSA at USF.
Some more options.
No, like this is we're in the weeds, man. La Tech at Western Kentucky, Kent State at Ball State, Missouri State at Illinois State, Southern Illinois at Murray State, Tennessee Tech at SEMO, Lamar at SELA, Sac State at Grand Canyon. Anybody can go to Tallahassee. Anybody can go to Nashville. Anybody can go to Stark Vegas. Fitzy, right?
Here.
This is for the gamers.
Let's go.
Joe, what say you?
I'm going to go. This gives me a good opportunity because I'm going to go Tennessee Tech and SEMO. Because on the recent Nerdcast, my position with regards to SIU Edwardsville was disgustingly misrepresented.
Uh-huh.
As being a homer. I am a proud alum.
Oh, did you actually listen to that?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I'm a proud alum of SIU Edwardsville, but when it comes to the OVC, I will not have my journalistic credibility get raked over the coals.
That's what I was trying to say, Joe. I was trying to take up for you there. I knew you were.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can be a proud alum.
Joe is our director of credibility.
I was very proud of the boys for getting to the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Big deal. Shout out to Coach Brian Baroni. But when
Tony Baroni's son's their basketball coach?
He absolutely is. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you just made up the name Tony Baroni. This is incredible.
No. Yeah, I thought that was
a former A&M basketball coach from back in like the 90s.
Incredible.
Yeah, back from the dark days of A&M basketball.
Yeah.
So, but in all seriousness, like it does feel like the OVC is at a little bit of a, I keep waiting for SEMO to do its thing and kind of pull away, and I still think that's the most talented team there. But Tennessee Tech's had a nice year. SIUE is this the best team Sean Lyons has had at SIUE, and they've kind of gotten steadily better. He deserves a lot of credit there. But I'm just kind of waiting for SEMO to make its move, because I think we all feel like that's inevitable, but everybody else keeps hanging around with them, and I guess we'll have to see. So that's kind of what I got my eye on there.
Nice.
I like it.
I'll go next before Kendall picks my pocket. I know where he's going. I'm going to Muncie, home of Bob Ross, if I'm not mistaken. The great Bob Ross. We're going to draw some
Teddy Cahill Field. Right?
That's right, Teddy Cahill Field at Bob Ross Stadium, David Letterman Park. We got Kent State Ball State is sneaky intriguing here. Kent State guys, kind of quietly, they were just lying in the weeds. Like, we're so used to this program being the program in the MAC for a long time. I mean, or one of the two. It feels like every year they were very much in the mix, and then last couple of years maybe not as much been that. And you look up, and right now they're 16-5. And I don't know as much about their team as I would like to know. So frankly, that's why I would like to be there. And I know a little bit about Ball State's team, but I mean, I just think that these are two teams playing good ball. They're playing good ball, and it feels like a showdown series with. Look, I mean, ultimately it comes down to the conference tournament. This is going to be one bid league. There's going to be no at-large bids here, but I mean, Ball State's 17-4 and Kent State 16-5. It feels like this is the two best teams in the league, and they're going at it. And I think that would be intriguing to watch. So maybe our guy Burke will be there. I don't know. He likes to sneak in there for a good MAC series.
There you go.
I like it. A little Maction. That's a good choice. Can't go wrong with Maction. Kendall, where are you going?
Yeah,
and
I'm gonna go Lamar.
Is there any Buc-ee's in the area of where you're headed?
There is one on I-10 to get to Hammond, Louisiana, America. I'm going to go with Lamar at SELA. The Southland's been a really cool story this year. I mean, this is a conference that could, potentially get 3 bids in the postseason. Lamar is at least, in the mix. I mean, the RPI is not where it needs to be, but I mean, with a strong finish, they could potentially get in the mix. But, really it's McNeese, UTRGV, and SELA. And for SELA, keep an eye on Brendan Stuprich. This is a guy that, I mean, he's a fourth-year guy. He's a senior. He is a slam dunk All-American. 98 strikeouts and 74 in the third innings. Teams guys are only hitting him at a 169 clip, and his whiff rates on his slider is 54%. His whiff rate on his changeup is 45%. He's been phenomenal this year, and he's a big reason why SELA could very well be in the NCAA tournament, even without winning the conference.
So that's an excellent choice. I'm down to 3 choices. UTSA at South Florida is fun because I've just heard whenever I've talked to people about UTSA's team this year, I love the way coaches talk about them. Like they're just 9 really good players that maybe don't, they don't have the tools or the frame that puts them in the SEC, but it's just 9 really good baseball players. SIU at Murray State's interesting to me because Murray State's having a great year, and I just really don't have a good feel for their team. And I also think that this is the year that SIU is going to be a regional team. I just have a gut feel that they're going to sneak up and win that Valley tournament. Lance Rhodes has been putting together really good teams for a while now. But ultimately, I'm going to land at Sac State at Grand Canyon because it's closer. I won't even need the Learjet. I'm going to be a team guy. And I just, Grand Canyon's been dominating the WAC, and Reggie Christensen's got a good team. I like it better when Sac State is in the mix in the WAC. So there you go. That's good. Let's wrap up this.
You could take the company helicopter from Prescott to Grand Canyon.
There you go. We do have helicopters up here all the time. I like it. Let's go where you're actually going to be, and even if that's the home headquarters, and then we will wrap. Fitzy, where are you actually going to be?
Yeah, I think I am actually just going to be home this week. I was looking for somewhere to go, but I was just on the road. I was in California, and there's not much going on in the area. So I think I'm going to be command centering this thing, big tech style. I'm excited about it.
What was the highlight of the California trip, Fitzy?
It's good, just a good trip. I did make a quick pop in down to Laguna on Sunday night after I had some free time open up unexpectedly, and that was nice. My old stomping grounds. But no, it was good to. I think Irvine's legit. I like how Pauly's team too, but Irvine is really good.
Yeah.
So it's good to get eyes on them for a couple of days. And again, I saw UCLA on Sunday, and like their team a lot too. So it's just nice to see more teams that I think are bona fide, potential Omaha caliber teams.
Fitzy, you claim Worcester County, but I know that Laguna is what shaped you. Yeah. That's what I believe.
It was formative years, Coach. Formative years.
Yeah, agreed. Kendall, are you going? Are you going the home office?
No, I will see LSU and A&M at least a couple of games this weekend. I don't know when they're going to play because it's supposed to be pretty bad here tomorrow night. But so I'm thinking a doubleheader on Saturday. But I have not seen A&M in person in a while. I think it was the Alabama series, that was 4 or 5 weeks ago. A&M and LSU. This is a big series for A&M. They're in a situation now to where. Yeah, they're playing a lot better, but if they don't win this LSU series, I mean, that means they pretty much have to win a game against Georgia, and they pretty much have to sweep Missouri to get to 13 wins. And so, this is a big series for them. And we'll kind of see, too, the Texas series, I think A&M was something like 1 for 18 or something for the weekend and run as a scoring position. Can they, is what they did the previous 3 weeks more indicative of what kind of team this is, or, was Texas weekend kind of a step back for them? We'll kind of find out. And then for LSU, I think the big key for A&M's pitching staff is do not let Derek Curiel do what he did against Tennessee for a couple of games over the weekend and against CeeLo on Tuesday night. He's just continued to be phenomenal. I mean, what an absolute player that Derek Curiel is. And so, that should be a fun series.
Curiel's amazing to me because he's been famous since he was like 13. Like he's been a ranked player forever. And so I'm always so skeptical of those kids. Like you can't be that good that early and maintain it. And he's all of that.
He's so advanced, in every single facet of his game.
I mean, it's like Bregman though. Like he was kind of like that, like famous since he was 12 or whatever. And he just showed up and it's like, you knew right away as a freshman, he's just got that. He's got that it factor.
The only ding is he picked the SEC and just totally was scared off by the Patriot League, like just afraid to compete. But
I heard the Pards Collective is making a run at him.
Pards will weigh in on him. Yeah, we thought we had the commitment locked down, but
didn't want any part of Fit and Field.
Some LSU fan is legitimately going to email Jay Johnson and say that we talked about a collective going after Curiel, and he's going to listen to it and be like, "You got to be kidding me."
Start the rumor that the Pards had him and then LSU flipped them.
Runes, I do have a question. I have an additional question for you.
Yes.
What's going on with the Pards right now?
Yeah.
Or do you want to talk about it?
We need some accountability here.
I think my beloved Carrots have infected my beloved fabulous Rune Dogs, who have now infected the Pards. Like I think there's just I think my lack of fantasy football skill, I've become a super spreader of failure is what's happened. So I take full responsibility for this. I have to do better. I have to coach better. I have to play better. I just have to be better, Joe. You know what I mean?
We got to do something. We're not selling many Pards extra subs right now.
I disagree. I think the skid is compelling. Like I think failure and negativity sells. Am I wrong?
It's fair.
Joe Cephas, where will you be?
I will also be couch surfing this weekend, just watching on TV. Because I was
so lazy.
I was also on the West Coast last week, and actually just got back yesterday as we record this. So it's kind of hard to believe it's the weekend again already. But I'm looking forward to kind of locking back in on a lot of the SEC teams that I didn't see a ton of last. Because that's the other thing about being on the West Coast, Runes. Like obviously you live this, but like the game times are hard to get adjusted to when you're on the West Coast. Like you look up and it's like, oh, wait a minute, that game started an hour ago and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday, So it's a weird experience. So just kind of looking forward to locking back in on a lot of teams that I felt like was checked out on last weekend because I was out on the West Coast.
Joe, just out of curiosity, it looked like it from afar, but I mean, did Oregon kind of look like the team that we thought they'd be coming into the season? I mean, did they look that good against OSU?
Yeah, they looked really good because they won every way imaginable. They had a game where they blew them out. They won a 4-2 game. They won a 3-2 game. They won an 8-4 game where they came back late. They just look really complete, especially if the bullpen's pitching like it is right now. When I got there, every media member who's covered the Ducks this year, all they wanted to talk about is how shaky the bullpen looks because they just come off of a Tuesday loss against Portland where the bullpen, blew up on them. But the bullpen was great. I think 16 innings, 2 runs allowed against the Beavers, all told for the Oregon bullpen. And if they're going to be like that, they're going to be a pretty tough customer. I think they've got a chance to be an Omaha team this year and actually bust that door down they've been knocking on the last couple of years.
Agreed.
Love it. Joe, I just when you said you're going to be home this weekend, I'm picturing you doing weekend waypoints from just like some really fun locations, maybe from like a lemonade stand in the neighborhood you live in,
brewery,
maybe from the gas station where you buy your tamales. I don't know. Like let's just
you guys should just do like a Barstool style, like have Fitzy have you over. Y'all can crack open a few adult beverages, put a live stream on, and just watch games.
Do people from Raleigh and Durham socialize like that together, or is that not
something that is done? It's frowned upon.
That's right.
A lowly peasant.
Yeah,
you can meet like in a neutral location, but you can't
Chapel
go to
Hill. There we go. I'm sure Fitzy has a good bar in Chapel Hill. Y'all can meet at.
We can meet in Fuquay Arena.
Fuquay. What about Apex?
Yes.
I've always loved that name for a city.
Fayette, Tucky. I like it. Boys, I will be in Stark Vegas, as you know. My first trip there since 2019 when Jake Mangum broke the SEC hit record, which is hilarious because he broke the record on like a foul out. He literally just choinked the ball right over first base, just spinning.
Did you say schwinked the ball?
Choinked it. Yeah, like it was absolutely. I think his thumb was attached to the ball when it landed in fair play.
He's a big leaguer right now, man. My boy,
and like thriving. But anyway, I'm so excited to be there. So if you're listening and you're in Stark Vegas this weekend and you see a stunningly handsome man in a bucket hat and a D1 pullover, please say hello and introduce yourself. Buy me a cheeseburger. Who knows? Do what you got to do. But I'm so.
By the way, Nick Mingione, if they're holding you hostage and making you stay in Starkville, blink twice.
Well, you reported, Kendall, that buyout is like
$6 million.
There are.
I don't know who the hell Minge's agent is,
like
but man, that's a good one.
Yeah.
6 years fully guaranteed, $6 million buyout. I want Minge's agent stat.
It's good work if you can get it, boys. If I were to recap this evening's festivities. Joe coined a phrase, funhouse mirror. Well done, Joseph. As always, on point. The Baroni Hoops coaching tree was referenced because what good podcast would not be talking about
Did
the
not
Baroni?
See that coming.
No.
Do you know a fun fact about Tony Baroni real quick?
I don't know.
I don't even know he's a human.
So,
I don't even know that he's real.
Still don't know.
Back when Tony Baroni used to coach, it was like a network called HSC back then. It was like the Southwest Conference. And they would literally set a timer on the screen for how long it would take for him to take his tie off and throw in the stands because he had a really bad temper. You think Tony V's temper that 2022 was bad? This dude was like 10 times worse. Joe will attest to this.
It's absolutely true. In fairness, they went in Tony Baroni's career at A&M in the Southwest Conference at Big 12. The Aggies went 31-71 in conference play. I'd be pretty upset too.
Do you next year? I call dibs on the Baroni family fall report. I'm doing it. I'm diving in all the way. I can't wait.
It'll
with
be
the tie
Cards
timers,
Extra, right?
Yes. We also capped it with a great jaunt down memory lane for the great citizens of Muncie, Indiana. Some of your great all-time residents like Bob Ross and David Letterman. So
Ted Cahill.
Ted Cahill.
Put some respect on that name.
Teddy Cahill Esquire, soon to be.
The Cahillionaire, man. The one and only.
That's right.
Hey,
Yeah.
shout out to Mom in Texas in the comments. Loves your background, Kendall. She's right.
Thank you.
Your background is very classy. It's first class.
Thank you.
And I have a sweet and humble office, and that's because of the great Jennifer Rooney. So I want to give credit where credit is due. So there you go. Love it. That's
Shout out
wonderful.
J-Ro.
Yes, that's right. Boys, well done. Everyone enjoy weekend 12. Have a great weekend. We only got 3 of them left, and the postseason is coming at us fast. That is it. We will catch you next time on the D1 Baseball Podcast.